First of all, in terms of the week you've had, how are you utilising those positives from the Liverpool performance to get you ready for another tough game on Monday?
Well, we're training. I've said before that it's important not to get too high and too low after a game, because you have to start again in the Premier League. We face another tough opponent on Monday night, so we have to be ready for that. But clearly, it's quite positive at the moment in terms of on the back of Aston Villa 3 points and a point against Liverpool, and performances have been positive throughout. So we need to try to carry on the mood that we've got, carry on the work that we've been doing, but at the same time know that we have to start again and always look to improve to take points in the Premier League.
7 games coming in December and the new year. We all know it's a busy time, of course. What significance do you place particularly on this month in terms of the impact it can have on a team's season?
Well, I think you're right. There's a lot of games in a short space of time, so importantly, you can't get too down or high because there's another game coming around the corner. It's obvious that if you do well and you get points, it's positive for you, but at the same time, there's still a long way to go as well after this period. So what we do is just try and, you can't predict the future, you can't second guess what may or may not happen. Just try to focus on the game that you're going to play, put all your attention into that, and at the same and after that's finished, then focus on the next one. I think that's the best way to deal with the situation.
Southampton along the coast from you in 6th place at the moment. In what way have their performances caught your attention this season?
Well, I think they've carried on the good work that they've done. I think probably in the last year they've been really, really impressive in terms of not only the points they're getting, but the performances. I said before we played them last time, I'm particularly impressed with the job that Ralph's done there, because they faced a really, really tough moment last season and managed to get through it. I think that shows a lot, and it tells you a lot about the quality there. So all credit to them for that, and I like them a lot. I like the way they play. I like what they try to do. It's really clear. It's a good organised team with some really good players, and we know it's going to be a really tough game.
Finally from me, fans obviously back into some stadiums last night. I'm sure you saw some of the images. I know you had it for a friendly. What will you say to your players on Monday about how to use the return of the crowd, how not to be, I guess, distracted by it, and how much of an edge do you think it will add to individuals' performance? Well, we
hope everybody thinks it's a positive, because clearly it's a step in the right direction. We're excited for it and looking forward to seeing them again. Like you said, the event in the summer was really positive, and I think the players really enjoyed it. We're looking forward to that, and hopefully we can put on a good performance. Hopefully we can give them something to cheer and to enjoy, but it's just great to have them back after such a long time.
Hi Graham, good to see you. Can we just get team news first of all for Monday?
Yeah, Adam Lallana will miss the game. He's probably going to be a couple of weeks, I think. So it's not too bad. A little bit of a setback, but nothing too serious, which is positive. And he's recovering well, and he's on with his rehab. Neil Malpai has been with the physios this week, but chance to train on Saturday. So we'll take a decision later on in the week for him. Apart from that, we're everybody's okay.
It must be quite a relief that more paint could be available, because did you think perhaps that it could have been a longer term thing?
Well, yeah, you're always a little bit concerned, but it seems like wasn't too bad. So that's positive for us, positive for him. So yeah, that's good.
You touched on it just there about the fans. First time they'll be at the Amex in a competitive game since February the 29th. How big an impact do you think they can have, given the home results so far this season?
Well, I think we hope that it's a really positive impact, of course. I'm sure the players, and I know the players will look forward to seeing them and playing in front of the supporters. It's what makes football ultimately. I think we've had games at home. I think post even after lockdown last season, the teams we've played at home, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, the games that we've lost are arguably the games where you really need the supporters, and we've had to play with behind closed doors. So we hope that we can use the support that we have. We hope we can play well, we can get them involved in the game, and they can provide a good atmosphere, and that can help us to play against a good opponent and get a positive result.
It is 2,000 fans, Graham, but do you think, and where do you stand on this, that whether clubs maybe have a competitive advantage if they're allowed to welcome fans compared to those clubs who can't?
Yeah, I understand the competitive advantage. I think we're in the midst of coming out of a global pandemic. I think sometimes you have to zoom out a little bit from that. The back end of last season, I'm sure if you speak to Bournemouth or Watford or Norwich, they'd have liked their crowds around with them at the back end of the season. It wasn't to be. We know why that was. I think we're in a stage now where football needs supporters back, and however we start that process, the better. It's not something that I don't. If there was a situation where you're playing against a tier 3 team, for example, and therefore you don't play with the crowd, it's not the end of the world for me. I think whatever's good for the game and getting supporters back is the priority, personally. I think with the numbers you're talking about, I don't think it's a real clear advantage. I think if you're talking about a full house at the Amex versus no fans, then maybe yes, but 2,000, I'm not quite so sure it's the same.
A question on Ben White, Graham. I know he appears to be attracting interest again, which won't come as a surprise to you. Are there any worries from your point of view that he might have his head turned? I know how keen and how really hard Brighton pushed to keep him at the club.
I have no worries about Ben getting his head turned at all. He's a level-headed guy that wants to play football. Of course, he wants to play football at the highest level. Just like you want all your players to have those ambitions. But he gets down with his work, and he was totally professional in the summer, despite the noise from outside, which is you can't control. So he knows that. He's a smart guy, and yeah, we'll just carry on getting on with our work and trying to help him enjoy his football, which is the most important thing.
One of the things I saw on the game against Liverpool, Aaron Connolly not best pleased when he came off. Do you have any issues if players react like that, and how fine a line is there between what he did and perhaps overstepping?
Well, you have to remember that footballers are also human beings that get disappointed and get frustrated, and whilst I think there is a line. Aaron's a young man. He's learning all the time. Our job is to help him, to support him, to help him reach his maximum. So it's a balance, of course, but I don't have a massive problem with people making mistakes or doing things that in the cold light of day you'd maybe do something differently, because that's how you learn and that's how you get better.
Final one from me, Graham, just about the concussion protocols. It obviously came to the fore at the Arsenal and Wolves game. What are your feelings on the protocols? Do they need changing, and are you in favour of perhaps having concussion substitutions?
I am. I'm in favour of that. I think when it comes to the head, you should be really erring on the side of caution. So therefore, that makes sense to enable people to err on the side of caution. There's always... life is pretty much like that, isn't there? Stuff that we did in the past that we used to do, which is we don't do anymore because it's not right. And I'm sure there are things now that we can do that we can do better and change for the better for the game. And one of those things is probably around concussions and head injuries, because the effects further down the line are quite significant. And the more we can do to firstly understand that, and then to help, the better, I think.
Can I ask you what you've missed most about not having fans in the stadium?
What I'll miss about not having fans in?
Oh, what you have missed about not having fans in the stadium in the last 9 months?
Just the buzz of the people. That's the biggest thing. The increase of participation in the game, noise around the game. I think they bring an extra challenge to the game, to be honest. I think they bring another dimension. It's another variable going in. It makes things a bit more difficult, but at the same time, that's what you want. You want that ultimate challenge, and I think the supporters bring that.
I know that the position of where the journalists are to where you are is quite near at the Amex. Does it put you off at times, even hearing us commentate and report on games? Has there been times where you sort of wanted to turn around and go, you just don't know what you're talking about?
Well, there's something about when you watch a game that you can block quite a lot of stuff out, certainly behind you, which is often positive. But you're right, you do get the odd moment where you can hear, whatever radio it is or whatever TV production or somebody speaking. And that's a bit of a surreal moment when you, especially, certainly at the start, after Project Restart, and where the situation we were in terms of fighting to stay in the Premier League, and there's no supporters, and you play Manchester United and you play Manchester City and Liverpool, and when you need 30,000 people, getting properly behind you, you're hearing, the likes of yourself, with the greatest respect, talking about the game. It's a little bit off-putting and a little bit surreal, but again, it's part of. I understand why it is what it is, but I'd rather the bigger noise of 30,000 people.
You're going to have 2,000 back. I was there for the pilot event at 2.5, and it actually sounded like a lot more, because your stadium, brand new as it is and magnificent as it is, also keeps the noise in, and is very good for keeping sound going around. So is that going to help in a way that, although it'll only be 2,000, it'll probably seem and sound like a lot more?
Well, we hope so. I mean, I've always said that the crowd can help you, but they don't physically kick the ball. We still have to play well. We still have to play against an opponent, and a very good opponent that's used to playing against crowds and Premier League teams. So it's not just a given that we turn that into a result. But clearly we're excited to have them back. We're excited to be with our supporters. The most important relationship in a football club is the one between the supporters and the players. That's where you can generate the most feeling. It's where you can get the advantage. It's where you can get the memories. It's where you get the emotion. It's so important. So to have them back, no matter how few, is a really positive step, I think.
You played well this season, but not got the points, I'm going to use the word deserve, that maybe you deserve. Is that fair?
Well, whether it's fair or not, it doesn't really matter. We've got the points we've got, and I'm not going to sit here and bleat about what we could have done or not done. It is what it is. In football, you get the results and you have to deal with it. It's up to everybody to analyse whether the performances are on the right track or not, and some people can't do that. They'll just focus on the result, and then the result it becomes quite easy to put a description on your performance. But from our perspective, we've done a lot of things quite well, but we always want to improve as well, and we know that points wise we're frustrated, and we want to try and improve that. At the same time, we face an opponent every week that's also got some good players and wants to win, and that's why we're in this league, to fight every day to try to take that challenge on.
Just two more quickly. Yves Bissouma has been linked with a move to Arsenal. Apparently, Mikel Arteta is a big fan of his. You've spoken about Ben White not having his head turned. I mean, are you worried about losing any of these players, either in January or, well, I suppose, just at the end of the year, we can cross that bridge when we come to it?
To be honest, I've never been a coach that worries about losing players, because if you're losing players to teams higher up in the hierarchy, because that's ultimately what it is, and the club thinks it's the right thing to sell the player, and then I think it's a result of the fact that you've done something well. I don't think you should ever worry about that. It's part of football. It is what it is, and a lot of it is talk, a lot of it is speculation, a lot of it is nonsense, but there's always truth as well somewhere, so who knows, but I'm not worried about anything. I'm just helping the players improve, helping them get to where the highest level of performance they can, and then we'll see.
Last one, if you still hear me. Concussion subs, you say you're in favour of them. How important is it when it comes to a concussion that it's down to the medical staff to have that final say as to whether or not the player comes off completely, rather than the player himself? Because players are always going to be stubborn. They're always going to want to play, aren't they?
Well, in my opinion, when it comes to head injuries, it's the only person that makes a decision is the medical person, the specialist, the person that has made the observation, the testing, and that they should be there, because you're right, sometimes a player just wants to go out there, is not thinking properly, back to what we were talking about earlier about emotions and desire to play on the pitch. You shouldn't put players in that position where they have to take that decision. That should be the medics, and it certainly shouldn't be the coaches.
Hi there, Graham.
Hi, Johnny.
One on the squad thing. David Propper wasn't involved last time out. How is he?
He's okay. He's had a bit of a up and down, more down season, if we're being honest. But he's recovered and he's been training with us, so he's just taking steps. But probably not for the squad.
Okay, lovely. You welcome back Tarek Lampty. How much of a boost is that for this fixture?
Yeah, it's of course it's nice to have all the players available. Tarek's done brilliantly. He's had a real impact for us. Just remember, he's a young player with lots to learn as well, which I'm sure he will say. But we're delighted with him. He's had a fantastic start to his career at Brighton and Hove, and we're looking forward to carry on working with him and helping him, carry on improving his football and enjoying his football and seeing where he can get to.
One feature of your season has been that you've limited other teams to very few chances, or the least amount of chances in open play. How important is it that you don't give away any free kicks when you've got someone like James Ward-Prowse on the pitch?
Yeah, well, if you've seen Southampton recently, you see how dangerous he is. He's at an incredible level. Corners, free kicks, direct free kicks. He's very, probably the best in the league at the moment. So his quality's there. They've got some physical players, big players that can attack the ball well as well. So yes, Southampton have got that string to their bow. They're very, very good in those situations. So we have to be mindful of that, definitely.